The warning came without sound. No sirens, no explosions, no fire. Just silence spreading across the Galactic Council Hall. Every species felt it at the same time. A deep cold fear that moved through space like a shadow. The council chamber was large and filled with light. Hundreds of worlds were represented there. Ancient beings, machines made of living metal. Creatures older than stars. All of them stopped moving. One word appeared on every screen. Human. No one spoke. No one needed to. The oldest council member remembered the last time this happened. Back when 3 empires ruled half the galaxy. Back when humans were still called weak and young. That day the humans had said step aside. And the galaxy never forgot what followed. Far away in human space, a single man stood alone. He was not a king, not a god, not a hero in shining armor. He was a human commander, calm and quiet. He looked at the stars like he always did. Not with fear, not with pride, but with focus. The enemy fleet was moving fast, burning worlds, breaking treaties, taking lives without care. The galaxy argued. They always argued. They talked about laws and balance, about waiting and watching. Humans watched too, but they counted losses, not words. When a message reached the commander, he did not shout. He did not threaten. He only said, "Step aside, I will handle it." The message spread faster than light. Every major power received it. Every military command froze. The words were simple, but history made them heavy. Back in the council hall, panic slowly replaced silence. One delegate asked why humans always scared them. Another answered because humans never warned twice. The records were opened. Old wars, forgotten wars. Stories most wanted erased. Humans had lost more wars than they won. That was true, but every time they reached a limit, something changed. They stopped asking. They stopped holding back. They adapted. They learned. They survived. And then they ended the threat. A young alien officer asked a simple question. What are humans doing now? No one answered. Far from the council, the human fleets began to move. Quiet ships hidden for years. Technology never shared. Weapons never shown. This was not anger. This was preparation. Humans did not rush. They never did. They moved with purpose, with memory, with resolve built from loss. The enemy noticed too late. Their sensors failed. Their scouts vanished. Confusion spread through their ranks. They asked who was attacking. The answer was worse than fear. Humans. Back in the council hall, an ancient voice spoke. Soft but shaking. When humans say, "Step aside," it means the problem has reached its end. The council voted for maximum alert. Every world prepared defenses. Evacuation plans were activated, not to fight humans, but to survive what followed. The human commander watched the stars one last time. He thought of lost colonies, broken treaties, fallen allies. He did not hate the enemy. Hate was noisy. This was quiet. His orders were clear. Not revenge, not conquest, removal. As the fleets jumped into dark space, the galaxy held its breath. This was only the beginning, and everyone knew, once humans step forward, the universe has no choice but to move aside. The galaxy did not sleep after the warning. Stars burned the same, but nothing felt normal. Messages crossed space in silence. Orders were sent without words. Fear moved faster than any ship. The enemy fleet continued forward. They believed the humans were slow. They believed humans would talk. They were wrong. Far inside, deep space, human ships travel without light. No signals, no noise. Only shadows moving between stars. The commander stood on the bridge, hand behind his back, eyes fixed ahead. Around him, officers waited. No one spoke. They trusted him. They always had. Human history was filled with loss. Every officer knew it. Every ship carried it. Colonies erased. Families lost. Promises broken. Humans did not forget. They stored pain like fuel. The enemy commander laughed when his scouts went silent. He believed it was a malfunction. He ordered the fleet forward. Then entire systems went dark. No explosions. No warnings. Just absence. Ships vanished. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Gone. Panic spread through the enemy ranks. Commands were repeated. Formations broke. They finally sent a message to the council, asking what humans were doing. The council did not reply. They could not, because even the council did not know. Human warfare was strange. They did not rush to attack. They removed options. Supply lines failed. Navigation data became wrong. Allies stopped responding. The enemy felt blind. Inside the human fleet, old systems activated. Machines designed long ago. Built after disasters no one wanted repeated. These systems did not seek battle. They sought control. Space itself bent around human ships. Stars shifted. Distances changed. The enemy tried to retreat. They failed. The commander finally spoke. His voice calm. "This ends now." Those words were not a threat. They were a decision. The enemy fleet tried one last desperate move. They aimed everything at a human world, hoping to force a response. They never reached it. Something unseen surrounded them. Time slowed. Weapons failed. Fear took over. Many begged. Some prayed. Others screamed. Humans did not listen. Back in the council hall, the ancient records updated themselves. New entries appeared, marked as ongoing. The title was simple: Human Intervention Event. Older beings closed their eyes. They remembered similar titles. They never ended well. A young council member whispered, "Why do humans go this far?" The answer came quietly. Because humans do not fight to win. They fight to make sure it never happens again. The enemy commander realized the truth too late. This was not a war. This was cleanup. One by one, enemy ships were frozen in space. Not destroyed, just stopped. The commander watched the stars fade from his screens. He understood then. Humans were not cruel. Cruelty required emotion. This was something else. Final. Human fleets slowed, then stopped. The commander turned away from the stars. His job was almost done, but the galaxy was just beginning to understand. News spread across 1,000 worlds. Human fleets had moved, and no one knew how far they would go. Fear returned stronger than before, because when humans step in, they do not stop halfway. And somewhere in the dark, the universe waited, knowing the next part would be worse. The galaxy began to understand too late. Human intervention was never limited. It always spread. Deep inside enemy-controlled space, entire regions went silent. Not destroyed, not damaged, just empty. Trade routes collapsed. Messages failed. Time itself felt wrong. Worlds waited for orders that never came. Inside the frozen enemy fleet, fear turned into confusion. Confusion turned into despair. They were alive, but unable to move, unable to fight, unable to run. Human ships surrounded them like shadows, close enough to see, far enough to never touch. The enemy commander tried to speak again, his voice shaking, his pride gone. No answer came. Humans had already stopped listening. The human commander stood alone again, watching thousands of enemy ships trapped in still space. He remembered the first colony lost, the screams, the silence after. He did not feel anger now, only responsibility. Humans had learned long ago. Anger faded. Results remained. Behind him, his officers waited. They knew what came next. They did not like it, but they accepted it, because humans accepted the cost of survival. The commander gave a simple order: expand the zone. Space shifted again. The frozen region grew wider, catching more fleets, more stations, more weapons. Enemy worlds felt it immediately. Gravity changed. Energy failed. Defenses powered down. Leaders panicked. They sent surrender messages, offers of peace, promises of loyalty. The messages reached human space. They were archived, not answered, because this moment was no longer about words. Far away, the Galactic Council argued again. Some demanded humans stop. Others begged for mercy. The oldest member remained silent, watching new data appear. The expansion was controlled, precise, measured. Humans were not lashing out. They were cleaning space like a careful surgeon. A council member asked the question no one wanted to hear. How far will humans go? The answer was already written. Until the threat is no longer possible. Inside the frozen fleet, the enemy commander finally understood. This was not punishment. This was prevention. Humans were rewriting the battlefield itself. Human ships did not fire, did not chase, did not shout victory. They waited. Time became their weapon. Supplies ran out. Systems decayed. Hope faded. Humans had patience built from centuries of hardship. One officer asked the commander quietly, "What if the galaxy turns against us?" The commander answered without hesitation, "Then they will step aside too. Not because humans wanted power, but because humans refused extinction." A distant alarm sounded inside the human fleet. Another hostile force had moved. Thinking humans were distracted, the commander smiled slightly. Not with joy, but with certainty. They never learn. New coordinates appeared. New fleets activated. Human intervention did not slow. It multiplied. The council hall filled with fear again. Someone whispered, "Humans are everywhere." The ancient member corrected them. "No, humans are done asking." The frozen enemy fleet began to fail completely. Life support weakened. Systems shut down. The commander issued the final choice. Surrender control forever, or fade quietly. Many chose surrender. Some chose nothing. Humans recorded it all, not for pride, but for memory, because humans never forgot why they acted. As the stars dimmed inside the frozen zone, the universe felt smaller, tighter, like it was holding its breath. And somewhere beyond known space, others were watching, learning, and preparing, because they now knew the truth. When humans say step aside, they are not entering the fight. They are ending the era. And part 3 closed, with the galaxy realizing this was no longer a story about survival. It was a story about control. The galaxy felt smaller now, not because space had changed, but because choice had. Worlds that once argued loudly, now waited quietly. Human intervention had crossed a line. No one knew where it ended. Inside the human command network, every system was calm. Too calm. Ships moved in perfect order. Fleets adjusted without delay. No wasted motion. This was not chaos. This was control. The human commander studied the maps. Entire regions marked inactive. Entire threats marked neutral. But his eyes were not on what was finished. They were on what remained. Because something always remained. Deep beyond the frozen zones. Beyond council space. Beyond known charts. Signals appeared. Weak. Careful. Watching. Someone else had noticed. Ancient watchers. Beings older than most stars. Beings who never interfered. Until now, they saw humans do what no empire had done. Rewrite fear itself. They did not attack. They did not speak. They observed. And observation was never harmless. Inside the council hall, panic returned. Not loud panic. Quiet panic. The worst kind. Reports confirmed unknown movements. Unknown power signatures. Not human. Not enemy. Something else. A council member whispered, "Have we awakened something?" The oldest member finally spoke. His voice tired. Humans do not awaken danger. They attract it, because power always draws eyes. Back in the human fleet, an alert appeared. Not hostile. Not friendly. Unknown. The commander stared at it for a long moment, then gave a simple order. Hold position. This surprised his officers. Humans have been moving non-stop, pushing forward, ending threats. Why stop now? Because this moment was different. This was not an enemy that attacked. This was an enemy that waited. Human sensors struggled. Data refused to settle. Space refused to behave. It felt wrong. The commander felt it too. A pressure in the silence. Humans had learned to fear silence. Silence meant thinking enemies. The unknown presence expanded slowly. Not entering. Not retreating. Testing. Inside the frozen zones, enemy survivors watched in terror. They saw shapes move where nothing should move. They understood then. Humans were not the worst thing in the galaxy. Humans were the answer to something worse. The commander spoke to the fleet. His voice steady. Maintain readiness. Do not provoke. Do not withdraw. Humans did not blink first. Minutes passed, then longer. The galaxy waited. The unknown finally sent a signal. Not words, not images. A feeling. Pressure. Warning. Interest. The meaning was clear. You have changed the balance. The commander responded without anger, without fear. Good. The signal paused. This had not been expected. Humans were not apologizing, not explaining, not asking permission. They accepted the challenge. Deep within human archives, old files unlocked. Records sealed for generations. Projects started after extinction events, after first contact failures, after betrayals. Plans for things humans hoped never to face. But hoped was not the same as prepared. Human fleets shifted formation, not toward the enemy, not toward the unknown, around human space. Defensive, layered, absolute. The galaxy realized something terrifying. Humans were not defending territory. They were defending the right to exist. The unknown presence moved closer. Stars dimmed around it. Space folded like cloth. Even ancient council members recoiled. This was power without noise. Power without effort. The enemy had been dangerous. But this was fundamental. The commander did not retreat. He did not advance. He waited, because humans understood something others did not. Real power tests patience. The unknown pushed again. Harder. Pressure increased. Human ships groaned. Systems strained. Officers looked to the commander, ready for orders. He raised a hand. Hold. Human ships held. Something changed. The unknown hesitated. For the first time, it hesitated because humans were not breaking. They were resisting, not with force, but with refusal. The galaxy felt it. A shift. Subtle. Deep. Humans were drawing a line. Not in space, but in reality. You do not pass. The unknown withdrew slightly. Not defeated. Not satisfied. Curious. The message came again. Different this time. Why? The commander answered simply. Because we are still here. The signal faded. Not gone, but distant. Watching. The fleet stood down slowly. Not relaxing. Not celebrating. They knew better. This was not the end. It was a beginning. The council recorded the event, classifying it immediately. Tier beyond threat. A category once thought unnecessary. As the stars returned to normal, the commander turned away from the map. His face calm, his eyes tired. Humans had stopped one threat and revealed another. But they had done something more. They had shown the universe that even the unknown could be resisted. And as Part 4 closed, the galaxy understood a terrifying truth. Humans were no longer reacting to danger. They were shaping the future. The galaxy did not return to normal. It pretended to. Trade resumed. Messages flowed. Lights returned to cities. But fear stayed. Everyone knew something had changed forever. Humans had not only stopped a threat, they had stood against the unknown and survived. That kind of act leaves scars on reality. Inside human space, defenses never powered down. Fleets remained active. Archives stayed open. Humans prepared not for war, but for inevitability. The commander felt it. A pressure behind every quiet moment. The unknown had pulled back, but had not left. Watchers still watched. Deep space sensors began to record strange patterns. Small at first, easy to ignore, then impossible. Stars blinking out for seconds. Signals looping. Time delays that made no sense. The galaxy blamed errors. Humans did not. Humans never ignored patterns. The commander gathered his officers. Their faces serious. Something is testing the edges. He said, not attacking, not retreating, learning. The room stayed silent. Humans knew what that meant. Far from human space, a remote station vanished. No wreckage, no explosion, just gone. Then another, then a third. Panic spread again. The council demanded answers, but humans gave none, because answers required certainty, and certainty was gone. The commander authorized a probe, an unmanned craft, built for one purpose, to go where nothing returns. The probe entered the dark region. Sensors active, data streaming. For a moment, everything was normal. Then space bent. The signal twisted. Sound became shapes. Time slowed. The feed cut. But not before one message escaped. Not words. Not images. Fear. Raw and endless. The probe was not destroyed. It was undone. Humans watched the data in silence. This was not an enemy that could be fought directly. This was a force that erased mistakes, and humans were now a mistake, or a challenge. The commander made a decision that shocked the council. He ordered human fleets to pull back, not retreat, realign. He was not giving ground. He was baiting. Humans did not hide from threats. They shaped encounters. The fleets formed a pattern. Wide, deliberate, open. The galaxy watched in confusion. Why expose themselves? The unknown noticed immediately. Pressure returned, stronger than before. Space screamed without sound. Stars warped. Sensors failed. This time the unknown pushed directly. Human ships trembled. Hulls strained. Officers held position. The commander stood firm. He knew this moment mattered. If humans broke, everything ended. If they held, something new would begin. The unknown pressed harder. Ships failed. Crews struggled. Humans felt fear. But fear had never stopped them, because fear was familiar. They had grown with it. Deep within human systems, something activated. Not a weapon, not a shield, a signal, a declaration. Humanity exists. It spread through space. Simple, unchanging. The unknown paused. Again, it had erased stars, folded reality. But this resisted. The signal did not fight. It refused to disappear. The unknown pulled back slightly, then struck from another angle. Humans adjusted. Again and again. Not faster, but smarter. The galaxy realized what was happening. Humans were not overpowering the unknown. They were adapting to it, learning how to remain. The unknown withdrew further. Confused. It had never faced something that learned while under pressure. The commander finally allowed the fleets to rest, but not stand down. This was not victory. It was recognition. Somewhere beyond space, the unknown watched. Not with anger, but with interest. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were variables, dangerous ones. As Part 5 closed, the galaxy understood the truth it feared most. The unknown had found something rare, a species that refused to vanish, and it was deciding what to do next. The universe waited, not in silence, but in awareness. Something had changed, and nothing could undo it. The unknown did not attack again. It did not retreat fully. It watched, and for the first time, the galaxy understood what fear truly meant. Not fear of destruction, but fear of being judged. Human space became the center of attention. Every signal, every movement, every decision. Humans felt it too. The commander stood alone once more, looking at the stars, as he had at the beginning. But now the stars looked different. Not distant, not endless. Aware. The unknown had learned something, and humans knew it. That knowledge was dangerous. Inside human archives, new files were created. Not about enemies, but about boundaries. Humans had never wanted control of the galaxy. They wanted safety, and now safety meant responsibility. The council met for the final time on this matter. Voices were quiet. Arguments were gone. They asked the human commander a single question. What happens now? He answered without hesitation. Now we make sure it never happens again. Not a threat, not a promise, a rule. Human fleets shifted again. Not forward, not outward. They formed a line, a boundary across space. Simple, clear, this far and no further. The unknown reacted immediately. Pressure surged. Space twisted. It tested the line. Human ships held, not because they were stronger, but because they were united. Millions of lives, billions of memories, all focused on one truth. We exist. The unknown pushed harder. Reality strained, but the line did not break. Humans did not fight. They endured. And endurance was something the unknown did not understand. It had erased countless civilizations. All different, all fragile. Humans were different. They bent, but did not disappear. Slowly, carefully, the unknown pulled back. Not defeated, not angry. Changed. The pressure faded. Space healed. Stars returned to normal. The universe exhaled. The council recorded the final outcome. A new law written into galactic history. Human space is neutral and absolute. Not because humans demanded it, but because reality agreed. The enemy fleets remained frozen forever. Not destroyed, not freed. A reminder, humans did not celebrate. They never did. The commander gave his final orders. Reduce fleets. Maintain watch. Protect allies. Then he stepped away. His role was done. Humans returned to their worlds, their cities, their lives. But something remained in the air. Respect, not admiration, not fear, recognition. The galaxy had learned a lesson written without words. Humans do not seek power, but when forced, they become unavoidable, far beyond known space. The unknown retreated deeper, carrying something new. Caution. It had found a boundary it could not erase. And it would remember. Years passed, then decades. No new threats emerged. Peace held, not because the universe became kind, but because it became careful. Stories spread among the stars, told in whispers. When humans say step aside, the galaxy listens, not because of weapons, not because of fleets, but because humans stand, and they do not move. The commander looked at the stars one last time. Before turning away, the future was uncertain, but humanity had earned something rare. Time. And, as the story ended, the universe understood. When humans say, I will handle it, they mean, this ends here.